Hi everyone, in this video we are going to continue and start working on this engine panel. So let's remove this on side, and as usual let's select with my selection mode or S on your keyboard the engine panel block, and just with one of the three of component modes on your keyboard let's step inside. Once again, I'm going to add a box. And of course, I need to make sure that this tool option is set to create in context. And now when I add box, it will be created inside here and not outside of this geometry container. So let's connect this match size to the box. And let's make sure that this match size is actually set to template and not selectable template. Great, let's select the box and let's start. So I will start with adding edge loop here. And then make this to be something like this. And in this case, I really don't need my template anymore. And I guess I can just continue working like this, because I know I'm not gonna create anything else outside of this geometry. So by selecting this polygon, I'll create the doors. So let's add an edge here, use bevel. And to me it seems that I only have doors on the right, so let's just extrude it inside. With W, let's go into the wireframe mode and see, yeah, this looks fine. Now let's duplicate these doors. And I could use snapping and just snap it here. And again, let's extrude a bit inside. Let's make sure that we output back. Select everything with double click and then just reverse the polygons, and that's it. Now, right now it doesn't seem like we did anything, but once I bevel everything on this geometry, we will see that these doors will also be beveled, and then we will see that there is some kind of space, empty space inside here. So we will leave this for later. But right now I want to focus on this part where we have a bunch of these elements here, plus these switchers. And this would be usually tricky to do, because this is really like everything is under some kind of angle, let's say 45 degrees or 35 degrees, and it could be kind of tricky to do so. But because we are going to utilize the construction plane for the first time, things are going to be much easier for us, because construction plane allows us to do certain things in much more convenient way. And to actually initialize or invoke the construction plane, which is this thing here, we just need to press this button on your keyboard. Now in my case it's already positioned, so let's just reset the parameters. And rotation, or just revert to default state. So when you invoke your construction plane with your shortcut on your keyboard, you are getting something like this. And you also can notice that we are getting this candle gizmo. And what we can do now, if we invoke this tool with the keyboard shortcut, is place this grid where we want on our object. And you can also notice that we get this gizmo here, which is pretty much like a normal direction. And it tells you where this grid or construction plane will be positioned. So if I now press left mouse button, here, we can see that this construction plane, let me remove my regular grid, is positioned under the angle. Basically, it's positioned perfectly as we want it. We want this construction plane to be on top of this primitive here. Why? Well, if I now press this keyboard shortcut again, we are basically getting out from the orient mode, and we can start working, or orient mode or positioning mode, your construction plane. So now we can start working with our construction plane as it is. So in this case, I will start with a box, and you will notice that this box is now positioned based on the angle of construction place. Not just angle, but position of the construction plane. It's not on our regular grid, which is exactly what we want. So now I can make this object smaller, and if in case this gizmo candle is in your way, you can just press H button on your keyboard to remove it temporarily. And let's make this smaller, and let's bring it a bit on top, and seems to be much smaller looking at my reference. So I think that's a good starting point. Now what we can do is we can start creating other elements, and for that I can simply select this object or geometry and duplicate, and then move it, scale it. Also, you will notice that this axis now is really not positioned as we would like it to be, because if I go now and try to scale this down, you can see that it really doesn't behave as we would like. In this case, this will work because I'm scaling this object uniformly by hovering over this little box gizmo. But if I scale this down with X and Z plane, we are getting results like this. So in this case, I need to press M on my keyboard and find the alignment of the handle that fits our needs. In this case, construction plane handle, let me see, the construction plane aligned handle looks like this, which basically aligns the axis, depends on the angle of your construction plane and position. So now we can scale it to be something like this. Let's move it a bit back. Okay, that looks good. We can now duplicate and move this again, and then just add, need two more, so just add one or two copies of this geometry. Okay, nice. We have also one on the side, so I can actually add one more. Select the last one, and then I move, just put it on the side. Now I selected this, and this was not my intention. Or what we could do, in case I don't want to add another copy, and I maybe want to be a bit more precise, I can select this one and just not duplicate, sorry. actually just mirror it. And we now managed to mirror this geometry on the other side. And we know that the distance between these two is the same here. So that's nice to be able to do that like this, because it will look a bit more precise. Okay, now I need all these circular geometries, and for that I will simply add a tube, make it smaller, make sure that my snapping is disabled, and let's see. Now you can do any of these, it really doesn't matter the order. But what I will do to make sure that I have precise distance on both sides is I can enable my handle parameters, which are pretty much the quantization settings, and to translate steps I will put everywhere 0, 0, 0, because I think these are actually X, Y, and Z. So let's go out. And now if you hover over your mouse over the axis, any of the axis, press left mouse button and then Control, we can see that now we are moving this object incrementally. And you can see the number 0, 10, 0, 20, 0, 30 in the middle of this object. So let's bring this object back, and I'll start with the top. So let's move it. So this is 0.90, 0.09. And let's end the caps. And let's just add a bit more columns so it's a bit more detailed. Okay, that looks fine. Maybe it's a bit smaller, but it really doesn't matter. In case I want to make it this size, I can activate my point, snapping, and then just bring this plane in alignment of this point. Great, so, but before I continue, I'll just grab everything with N on my keyboard and press T to merge everything into one object. And then from there, select this, duplicate. When you are having merge, really something is bugging out. So even though if we select the geometry and then duplicate, it will ask you to select again what you want to duplicate and then confirm, and then your duplicate will work as expected. So I'm not sure what's the issue there. But okay, let's move this here like this and make it a bit smaller. This seems fine. Now let's copy this geometry once again, bring it to the middle here, and let's make it smaller. And let's duplicate it here and duplicate once more. Actually, in this case, when I look a bit better into my reference image, this looks more like this. Yeah, I think it is a bit bigger, but this is fine. Now we also need to duplicate this and align it here. Let's add one more for this side, and that's it. And then these two, again, duplicate, bring them here. And I would say that. Also, what we can do for the other side, we can mirror these two. And I'm not quite sure how this looks on the other side. So I will just eyeball everything. We have one bigger, maybe another bit bigger, so it really does not matter. You can do here whatever you like. And then let's bring this thing at the bottom. Let's quantize the movement. Looks correct. Let's move it on the left a bit. Or here. Let's duplicate. Let's make it smaller. Let's duplicate again. Yeah, I think that will do. I will also make these two to be aligned with. Okay, make sure you save it. Control S, and we can continue. Let's see. I still have. I think I will just take these and just mirror it on the other side. And I think that would be it. Maybe I could also mirror, I don't know, these three, even though I don't see them. But of course, you can spend a bit more time to try and make all of these, or you can create it with the textures, but for the sake of this tutorial, it will be just too long. I'm not gonna do this. So I will move forward. Again, I will invoke my construction plane placement, and I will move it. I will move it somewhere here. Because remember, wherever is the center of your construction plane, your objects will be created there. So what I want to do in this case, I want to create a grid. And now again, there is few ways I could do this, but I purposely want to use construction plane in this tutorial as much as possible. So now what I'm actually creating is this part, which you might think, okay, how will I create this? But actually there is really a nice way to do it. So let's start. In this case, I don't need too many rows or any row. And I will add, let's say 32 of these, even though I don't need it, but I want to show you something else later. So I will create 33 so that I have one edge right in the middle. So now when I select this edge, I will use my edit node. So just press T on your keyboard, and I will use the soft radius with your wheel, scroll wheel, so we can make it more or less. I'm not sure where is visualization for this, but usually you see the red. This might be a bug. But anyway, it doesn't matter, you see what's happening. And in this case, this type of soft radius will not work. So I need to change my soft type. So from the parameter editor in your edit node, so here is the edit node. Under the soft settings, let's select soft type to be quadratic. And now we get something like this, which is the exact thing that we actually need. So now what I can do, I can select these two edges bring it a bit down, but let's make sure there is no soft selection anymore. And something like this, select that, poly bridge to this here, connect them, and voila. But I'm not gonna do actually this. I'm gonna do this the other way. I will select these edges here and I will extrude them in the bubble in this direction here, and then I will use my scale to make this surface like this. Then let's bring these here as much as possible. Great. Let's select these points and let's just fuse them. And if you are not sure if they are fused or not, just ramp this until the next points are fused, and now you're pretty much sure that this fusion is working. And we managed to get this nice looking geometry. And now this is obviously a bit, I would say, too much polygons on this object. So what I will do is I will select one and then I will actually delete every second edge loop here. So what we need to do is select one, then select the second edge to create a pattern, and then with Shift P on your keyboard, you could see here on top left of your viewport, there was a valid pattern message, which then means if you press Shift and hold it, and then with on your keyboard with up, down, left and right, you can actually select the pattern. I will select the pattern now. And then with my left and right, I will select these edges on the side. And then just simply with delete, I will delete these edges, and then we are having this type of geometry. It's kind of cool. So let's bring this down. And now we can take this a bit thinner and just duplicate and select this polygon and this polygon, and then bridge to the other side. Boom. That's it. Select everything, duplicate, move it. That's it. Now we also have, so I just noticed, we also have some kind of frame around these, so I can create this pretty easily with my edge loop. Now, if you're having problems like this, it's really not a problem. So just apply the... We can actually do this in a few ways, but I will show you this way. I could use knife easily, but I'm not going to use knife. I will use edge loop, and then with my edit node, I will go into my slide on surface, or with the right mouse button you can toggle sliding. And then on slide mode, just use match profile or match opposite profile. So T, match opposite sides, select it. Need to enable slide. Yeah, it still doesn't really work as I would expect. You see, with match opposite, it conforms to the stop. But there is definitely something wrong with it. But anyway, yeah. Okay, so if you try to move it from here, it works better for some reason. So yeah, sometimes the Houdini knows to bug out for some reason. Let's position this where it was. And let's now duplicate this. Move it there. Select both, mirror. Now we have it on both sides. In case you want to create holes, we can do that too with extrude inner. And then let's work on this side with our edit node, and let's enable mirror and see will this work. And it will. Now we can position this somewhere here. Press delete. Like this, press delete, and now we have holes. Great, so let's now invoke our construction plane again. And let's position this grid somewhere around here. Let's accept our construction plane. And now let's create tube. These switchers. I don't know what's happening with my PC, but something is wrong. So I'm having some kind of lag. Could be due to OBS. Oh, sorry about that. And I can add sphere. Again, it's too big. Make it smaller. Now you could also have position the construction plane here on the top. In this case, I decided not to do it. This is fast enough. Make sure that this primitive type is set to polygon mesh. Select everything. Duplicate. Select everything. Both of these and just mirror. And that's it. Now again, N, T to merge everything here. And we can continue. Now the last part that I need to do is this one, which is yet another nice way to do it. So let's invoke our construction plane and set it up here. Let's add another tube. We need to make sure this is positioned correctly. And let's make it smaller in radius. Maybe bring it here. Let's end the caps. Let's make sure I have one more row. And what I will do, I will select this edge. Make a bevel, and then from the shape I will use none. And now I'm getting this. It's very convenient in this case. So now we need to make sure just to close these with our poly fill. It can be a single polygon. Then we just select everything here. Can bevel. And then select again. extrude inner, and then just collapse it to get these. And now what I will do, I will make sure to remove my construction plane, select this geometry here. Maybe I can even, no, I will just use this. Convert to edges and poly bevel it. And for some reason, I cannot do it. It says it's not valid group. So I know what's the problem. We again need to select everything, press T to merge. And now we can select this part, convert it to edges, and then poly bevel. This will happen once after the merge, so just ignore and repeat. And create bevel, and then also exclude all these unnecessary edges. And bevel this as you see fit. That looks good. And if you want to bevel these, what we can do is use create group. Just select one of the geometries, invoke group create, and then under here, include by edges. Make sure that you are under the group type edges. And now set the angle to be around here, around 90, less than 90, and then you know that you will select only the edges that are under the 90 degrees. You see, we are not picking these edges because they are not 90 degrees. Now you can also deselect things that you maybe don't want to, that you don't want to bevel. So, for example, these. And now you can run bevel. And voila. So this group create node can just be a selection help for you. You don't have to use it for anything than just selecting things inside the viewport and then invoking the like bevel or any kind of tools on the selection. It's like selection tool, you know, you don't have to look at it as a group, but actually a selection tool that can help you out with selecting components. Now, when you are in bevel, you can also interactively now remove or add bevels you want or not. So there are no really rules in this case. Or add. Which comes very convenient sometimes. Okay, guys, I think that would be it. What I could also do, maybe I could add like a handle here, maybe, which is not in original design. So let's put it somewhere here. Yeah. Just add, I don't know. Tube. Let's make it smaller. And now if you close the caps, again invoke your construction plane and set this construction plane to be here. But now in this case we get this construction plate rotated, which we don't want. So what you can do is, before pressing left mouse button here, make sure to press Control. And now you will make sure that the construction plane is not rotating, no matter what. It's also the same like with the orient picking. So very convenient. And now I can add like a sphere here. Let's make sphere smaller. bring it out, set it to polygon mesh. I don't know, maybe we can squeeze it like a bit like this. Put it there. And that's it. And we can select this polygon and just delete it. Make sure that everything is selected. Press T to merge it, and that's it. And for the last step, let's select everything. Let's see, just invoke normal, set it to face area, and things should look better. Make sure to save. And now let me just do one more thing, and that's making a control for these doors. So let's see, in pivot mode, can do this. This is another good point to tell you that why is it good that with some objects you create these type of geometries, because then it's much easier to position your axis. Because in this case we know that for these doors, if we want to open them, we need to position our axis correctly. So you can see now they are opening just like you would expect when this gizmo axis is positioned and aligned correctly. So in this case, I need to make a reselection to add this selection here. So in my case, Control and of course I forgot the name of the shortcut, but below the escape, press enter, and now everything is as we want. So to make sure that things are not perfect, let's just open it a little bit. And that would be it. Now you can make these as you wish. That's on you. Let's go out with in our object select mode. And now we have this same object here. So what I will do, I will make sure to copy this and then select this copy inside of my network node or object network. And then with this match transform, click on it and then just select this object and press enter, and then delete or just try this. And now we use this container to be our guide for positioning the copy of this object. So, which is very convenient. Save. Let's go back to Lops. Let's hit render. Let's wait a bit. And voila, guys, that's it. That would be it for this lesson. I will still add the groups for materials, and to not waste your time, you can check in previous tutorials how I did this. So I will do this as soon as I finish the recording. Hopefully, guys, this was helpful. Some really nice tips, I think. And in the next lesson, we are going to start, I think, doing these wheels, because it will be pretty interesting. So without further ado, guys, make sure to stay safe and see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.